Oh man, just give my thoughts on the cup game versus Leicester at Goodison. I kind of got to the game. I didn't get to the game. I'm here in America, but I got to stream to see the game kind of late. The game was already going, but I just remember the first thought that hit my head was, it feels flat in there or something. I didn't have any sound, but just looking at it for the first few minutes, the team looked off a little bit to me. Um, I remember looking at the lineup and being again same as before the Manchester United game. Like, oh man, we don't really have a lot, Not that Tom Davies and Holgate in the midfield didn't they didn't. It's not that they didn't deserve another chance, but you still know like Leicester, they had Vardy in, they fielded what looked like their top 11, so they came to win, and we still kind of have injuries out the wazoo, and I was hoping Sidibe would be um, fit, but he's still out, and so Coleman is in, and on the left was Baines, but at first I was just kind of like, ah man, Baines, but more on that later, of course. But anyway, the first half was I just felt like the team. I just had wondered, hindsight's always 2020, and after seeing that first half, I was just like, man, it's caught up finally like that. All the excitement over Duncan Ferguson and the passion, you know, it's not that had waned any really. I still felt like the team was trying to play for him or trying to play period, but they looked gassed. They just looked not lethargical, but it's just like, I think like I play hockey and you get to a point where you're so tired and exhausted in hockey where your mind says do it, but your body is just like, I can't. And that's what it looked like out there with Everton. They just misplaced passes. The aggression in the press didn't seem as intense. I don't know that they were all really trying to press that much because I think the game plan was to kind of play back anyway. So maybe they kind of were trying to save their legs and not press too much, but definitely in pass placement and getting up the field to try to counter anything, it just seems sloppy. And I don't think the players just are bad. I think they're just tired and their body wasn't able to respond. But and then Leicester on the other hand, they looked fresh. They looked ready for it. I mean they're just clicking it on all cylinders and I kind of don't, I'm one of them spiteful fans. I don't like if we're playing whoever we're playing against. I don't like them. I mean, I know one thing I think that English folk are good about is being like sober about whether or not their team played bad and the other team played well. I had to say it. Leicester played well, but I don't want to say it just because I don't like them. They won. They beat us earlier in sort of like luck fashion, or we just caved in, and so I really want to stick it to them this game. But they 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 were Leicester. They didn't really do anything that great. We just weren't great either, and they know what they were doing. They're doing their standard thing, just getting the ball or making those quick passes, getting up the field to their forwards, and they pulled us apart, and they finally scored. That one, Madison scored, and then another one off of a corner. But it ain't like it wasn't coming. Is all I'm saying because we looked slow, and really hated to see us not be able to match their skill, intensity, whatever. But second half was totally different. I don't know if Leicester took their foot off the gas a little bit. It kind of felt like that because it seemed like they just wanted a comfortable game, and you would think a team. Who knows? I don't really know what their ambition is for the season. Do they care more about this? Do they care more about the league? Maybe that's why they let their foot up a little bit. But Everton was getting more possession, and we were starting to knock on the door a little bit. And lo and behold, forget what the sub was that mattered. I don't even know if the sub mattered so much, but there were some substitutions going on. In effect, Moise Keane came on right at the beginning of the half, I think. Um, and that's where I started to not be able to see a lot of the game because this is during work hours for me, so it starts to get a little spotty. But I saw not Mason Holgate, his boy Tom Davies scored, which that was a sweet, like I think Richarlison was the one that crossed that in from right outside the penalty box and just popped it in, and Holgate just side footed it in the air. It looked pretty cool, and it was crowd was hype. I was hype silently, because I'm working, and I was on an actual call there too, so I couldn't really pay too much attention. But I saw that goal and was really excited. And then after that, I really couldn't see a lot of the game. I just saw us making subs. I think Damari Gray came on for them. They started putting in. They switched to a more defensive. They pulled off Madison for another center back or something like that. Uh, and But the thing I did see was Leighton Baines get the ball and just one of the most beautiful goals, and most probably I really wish I could have been paying full attention the whole time and got to celebrate. But I could see on the screen just the limbs going, where he rocketed that ball into the corner and it tied the game, man. I saw Duncan hugging. I saw everything I was really feeling inside, but I had to just sort of be cool because I was in a work call, man. And at that point, I was just excited, but I had to put it all away and stop paying attention. So I didn't see any of the penalty shootout. But later I looked and saw that we didn't really do too well. I think Baines. I saw a highlight just now of Baines getting blocked, and I don't know who else took penalties for us, but you know, uh, it looked like they. I don't know. I don't. It looked like Leicester only missed one or two, and we missed two, maybe three or something like that. And sucks that we went out that way. I think the fans. I know how I feel. It's like, there's a chance to get a trophy probably this season, a season that's gone bad. So it sucks for it to end like that on penalties, especially when you came back on a team that was kind of trying to rest on not their laurels, but they were kind of trying to coast, and they kind of were about to do to them what they did to us. You know what I mean? I really wish we could have won in the won in penalties, and then that would have been like that taste of their own medicine that we got earlier this season in the league. But whatever. I mean, it's not like they're not a good team. So maybe if we'd have been a little bit more on it earlier in the game, we would have gone through. But I think I read that the team was clapped off from the fans, and that's a rare occurrence these days. So I feel the same way. I'm sad that we're out of the tournament and don't get to go to Wembley, but I'm glad the team stepped up and didn't quit despite everything. That's the one thing is like it ain't like that Leicester has faced the adversity we have. So things like this, I feel like can help make and help shape Everton to be stronger in the long term. Knowing what they have when they're at their lowest, knowing that they still have some fight in them and things. Because when you don't face a lot of adversity, when it finally comes, you know, that's when the rubber meets the road. So maybe this is us going through that, and then a team like Leicester's or your other teams in our league, when they start struggling for real, they'll wilt. So I just try to take the positive out of it. From all, it's a kind of almost a given that Carlos Ancelotti. I don't know how to pronounce it given the way it's spelled. Is going to be the new manager, and I'm cool with it. I'll back him. Looks like he won't come through until next week, though, when we play Burnley. So one more game with Big Dunk. I hope they can give him a good send-off, and just I hope the players can recuperate because we need some fresh legs because we actually need points. We're not far from the relegation zone. I feel like we talk about this on every video. So hopefully can get at least a draw there. I hate to be talking about a draw, though, at home against Arsenal, who's struggling, but looks like Arsenal might be getting Mikel Arteta, and that'll be pretty awkward. I don't know if they'll have him by Saturday. I think that we play, but maybe they'll get a bounce. So we gotta really have our game, be in tip-top shape, whatever that means for this squad, given the circumstances. Maybe we can get Sidibe and Sigurdsson back, and Um, you know, had some fresh legs somewhere on the pitch. I was glad to see that Moise King came back out, given the way it went down with Man U this past weekend. It's also good to see Anthony Gordon. Been hearing a lot about him, especially like Marco would never play some of those younger players. So it's good that Big Dunk, was like, yo, throwing caution to the wind. We need some points, and I don't even care if he didn't do anything. Just if his intensity of his first, call up to the first team and playing in a real game, that energy is infectious at times. So him just getting in their faces was valuable to me. So um, anyway, didn't turn out in our favor, but it wasn't a blowout and it wasn't anything for us to be embarrassed about. So I hope Big Dunk can get one good win Saturday, and then we see what we got after that. Up the Toffees.